All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Friday. Thank the Lord above. We are here. My goodness. And you guys noticed one. I got the headphones on today, and you'll see that I got somebody. I guess it's that way over here. This lovely lady. We'll get into. We'll invite her on here in just a second. But welcome to another episode of your HMG weekly wrap up. Friday, man, it's been a crazy week already. March Madness is in full swing. We'll get into that, but first, uh, let's bring on this lovely lady that I have next to us. She's a HMG family member as well. I've known her for God a couple years now.
Yep.
So and I absolutely love this woman to death. Deanna, how are you?
I'm good, Adam, and the feeling is mutual. I love you too,
I know.
boss man.
We we I forget how we met. I remember the first time we met, you guys were down in Scottsdale, and I
Yeah,
just happened to be down in Tucson. We drove up. You made me an amazing brunch, and we got to hang out.
yep,
And I got a, and then the second time I saw you was at your wedding,
yep.
which was beautiful on the beach. It was absolutely amazing down in Florida, and I was so blessed that I feel honored that I got invited to that. So that was great.
Of course.
And we're gonna get into you and your show here in just a little bit.
Sounds
But
good.
welcome. I appreciate you here. We got some people up here on Instagram. Our buddy Gabe. Yo, what's up, brother? Appreciate you. Um, let's dive into this week. March Madness. You guys know that I love college sports, basketball and football in particular. And this is my favorite time of year. You see the green in the background. I got the shamrock tie on. It's birthday month. I turned 29 again this year. It's
Yeah,
it's just a great month, right? And March Madness is in full swing. And last night was round one of the tournament. And those of you that are watching right now live, or those on the different platforms, or those of you that watch this later on, how many of you right now are pissed off because your brackets are already jacked up after round one? I want to just real quick into this. Um, I think the biggest I was at 100% on my bracket so far, and this is what I'll show you guys just a creep. I can't show you all. That's all you get. That's all you.
ah,
That's all you're getting. But I think the biggest upset right now that's going on in the news right now was University of Kentucky. The Oklahoma and Kentucky last night, and the number 14 seed Oakland, excuse me, Oakland takes down number 3 seed Kentucky. This is what I love about March Madness. You don't know. It's anybody's game. It doesn't matter what the ranks are. There's going to be some big upsets. And last night we saw it. Last night we saw Kentucky get taken down by Oakland. So it is interesting. Some of you have been asking me all week, Adam, what's your pick? What are you're going to the HMG is going to be attending the Final Four. I'm going to be giving you live coverage while I'm down there. Who do I expect to see? I have no idea because it's too early. But here's what I can tell you. I would like to see Creighton in there, and for two reasons. One, it's where my son goes to school. I've gone to a few of the games out there in Omaha. It's a very small school, and they've had a phenomenal program the last couple of years. I would like to see there's two games. Creighton and Marquette are both tied 1-1. They played each other twice this year. Marquette won once, Creighton won once. So I would like to see at least a third game for a tiebreaker. And then I'd like to see Creighton and maybe UConn. It's also a 1-1. UConn was ranked number 1. Creighton took them down earlier in the year. I think it's going to be an interesting. The brackets are. I never understand how they put these brackets together. You got teams out in California that are in the Midwest or in the East Division. It's chaotic, but that's what you expect from the NCAA. Am I right? So anyway, March Madness, it's great. I'm loving it. Tomorrow night, we're going to be in Pittsburgh, maybe for the Creighton game. We'll see. Not sure yet. And we'll have some other coverages across the country over the next week or two. So if you're watching this at a later time, and I want to hear what your bracket looks like, tell me what your final four. Who do you see in the final four this year? Leave a comment below and let us know, whatever platform you're on. So, all right. That being said, let's put that aside. We got some business to attend to because we gotta get Deanna on here, and we want to learn more about her and what she is doing, because it's absolutely amazing the stuff that she does. You guys think I'm busy? She makes me look like an amateur. She makes me look like an amateur. Last night, big in the headlines. I got two stories for you guys today. In the headlines last night, actually early this morning, 100 migrants break through a razor wire, knocking down guard members as they illegally cross into the El Paso border in a wild scene. This was out of the New York Post. Yeah, the Texas National Guard were attempting to organize the group into smaller groups, but the situation grew tense after some women and children were separated from some of the adult males by the guardsmen. Quote, a surge today in El Paso is a direct result of the unsustainable chaos President Biden has unleashed on the border, end quote. That's the spokesperson from Abbott's office told the Post earlier yesterday. The statement continued. The Texas Military Department and the Texas Department of Public Safety quickly gained control of the situation and are working to repair the damage. Another person had stated these illegal immigrants committed crimes in Texas, and the Department of Public Safety is under instruction to arrest every illegal immigrant involved for committing criminal trespass and destruction of property. You guys got to forgive me. I've not had my full coffee today yet.
Not yet.
So here's the thing. The border stuff has been going on for many, many years. This isn't the first time that we've heard of it. Fox News covered it this morning a little bit at 5:00 this morning. You can read some of the articles, and you see online a lot of different news outlets are kind of given the same story, which isn't a surprise. If you've ever been down to the border, I was stationed. Our MOB station was Fort Bliss, which is right there in El Paso, which borders Juarez. It's just a different scene. And if working the border mission in Arizona, I know a lot of guys that have done the border missions down there and stuff. You see this wave of migrants, or do we call them migrants? That seems to be the popular word here the last few years. I have no problem with people coming into this country. Let me be clear on this. I have absolutely no problem. None. Welcome.
Do it the right way, though.
Right there. That's exactly what we need to be doing. We need to be doing it the right way. Because here's the thing. If we wanted to go to other countries, we have to do it the right way. They don't just, here you go. Here, pop a squat right here. Let us know what you think. Yada, yada, yada. Oh, by the way, here's $5,000 that you can, it doesn't work that way. Something needs to change here. And we are
a new president.
Yeah, well, that
sorry, we have migrants here, and
that's just it. Chicago. I flew into Midway.
Their problem. It's not like they're good migrants; they're bad migrants. And as you know, Mike is a police officer, and he's dealt with a lot of these people that are causing issues. It's not like they're here wanting to establish themselves and do good. It's like you've got criminals here.
Is Mike seeing a big real quick, everybody, real quick? Deanna's husband, community hero, works for Chicago PD, just an amazing human being. I love him to death. He's funny as hell. Great dancer.
Yes, he is. So I wanted to chime in on this just because I know what he's dealt with.
Yeah. So please, what is he seeing there in Chicago? Because you're in the Chicago area, and I know that's a big city for these migrants that they're being shipped up to. What's happening there in Chicago with this? this?
So they were all stationed, like they were migrants. They were putting them at the station. They were living out of like they had over probably I think over 100 people at one point in his station alone that were there. They just are stealing, stabbing people, just causing all kinds of mayhem. They've now put them over. There's a couple places they got them. There's a hotel. An inn they call it in the city that they're all at, but they're going in, they're robbing the stores around the area. And there's some that have migrated out to the north side that I see out here that are begging. And I will give the families food, but they're not. I give a lot the people that are here that are trying to work hard and find jobs. I give them a lot of credit, but a majority of them are they're hanging out the corner doing drugs, just causing trouble, and they're not like going to be quality U.S. citizens, or trying to be. So
they're causing problems, and they're making this situation. They're bringing their problems from their country into ours.
Yeah, that's unfortunate.
It's a sad state of affairs, and I hate to even admit this. I may have said this on air before about. I've been doing this type of work for a little over a decade, and I'd say about 8 years ago, I started saying we are turning into a third world country with everything that's going on. And you want to talk about wanting to take that back, because I feel like I've manifested that, and that's wasn't my intent. And when I say third world country, let me be clear, everybody. I'm not talking about third world countries like that I've been to, or a lot of those military guys people have been to, but we're starting to see it down that road, and everybody wants to scream, well, it's fair, people should do this, people should do that. Here's another thing that ties in with the migrant situation, and I didn't put this on the thing because I just didn't want to necessarily get into it, but since we're talking about it, recently there was a headline that came out, and I'm paraphrasing here, but migrants are able to purchase and carry firearms.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Oh my God.
Now let's look at this for a second. And again, everybody, those of you that as if I have to say this because you should all know better, don't take my word for anything that I say. I'm giving you my 2 cents of what I see in the news. Look this stuff up, okay? Look up migrants being able to carry firearms legally in the United States. I could be wrong at this. It'd be the first time today. It's still early. But all of this time, we have had people wanting to take away our Second Amendment rights.
Right. Yeah.
And now they're saying these migrants have a right to carry a firearm in our country. We have to go through hoops.
Right. What's that background check like when they haven't? We got no information on them.
Is the guy with the rubber glove? Is he gentle at least? Like, come on! Like, what is going on with this? I'm sorry for that image, but it's like, seriously, you have to. I feel like our government is against us at this point, and Ronald Reagan, I think, said it best in the 80s, and I paraphrase, like, if the government ever says, we're the government, we're here to help, then you have something to worry about. And that's how it is. Listen, look this stuff up. Again, I think the issue with the border is only going to get worse over the summer as the spring surge. They call it the spring surge because the weather is just nice enough right now at night where it's not too cold and it's not too hot during the day. So they're really, I think the next 2 months you're really going to see this surge, and there's literally thousands of people going through the border, and we're just talking El Paso. I mean, Arizona's got a big problem, California's got a big problem. It's only going to get worse, unfortunately, but maybe it's got to get worse before it gets better. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Moving on. Let's move on. Mainstream media admits failure of electric vehicles. I, for one, am shocked. CBNC admitted that the push towards electric vehicles has failed. The outlet then described that the major car companies such as Ford, GM, Mercedes-Benz, and others are reducing their EVs to give consumers a greater choice. Oh, there's a new concept. Give what the customer wants.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a Tesla.
Do you? Do you
Yeah.
guys like it? Now, I've ridden in them. Very smooth.
I love it. But I would not rely only on electric. We have gas and electric, and I think that's a great combination to have.
Okay, so let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I can see electric if you're doing in-town short trips. I've and you know me, like I travel through you guys' area, like so I take when I'm on the toll road,
Yeah.
you see the plugins, but you see people in there, and some of them aren't making it to the next plug-in stations and stuff. Do you do long distance with yours or local?
We've gone to like Wisconsin to go skiing, and you can plug in your route and it'll give you where the next charging station is along your route. So you just have to use the tools that it provides you.
Yeah.
But I personally love it. The cost to charge it at night versus gas is like pennies on the dollar. And so you just have to be wise about, how you're utilizing your vehicle.
I'm so glad that you're saying this because I am not familiar with this. I've heard, so most of the stories that I've heard is about 50-50. So some of them that you hear are the maintenance on those, like trying to change the battery on it, very expensive. Just buying it alone is expensive. Then you got to put the charging port. Do you guys have a charging port
in our garage?
In the garage now. Did you guys purchase it, or was that something mandatory? Because I know some cities are trying to make it mandatory.
We had it installed. It cost like $700.
But it's cheaper on the long run as far as okay. I could see where that makes sense to me.
Yeah.
I still have I would still be uncomfortable taking it on long distance cross country trips as much as I drive.
Yeah.
But I definitely see like keeping it local. Great option for it. And now I've been picked up in several of them, and they're quiet.
Yeah,
definitely get up and go when they're in the sports mode. It's just like
I love I love it.
I bet you do. Yeah. So that's going to be interesting to see what happens more with the electric vehicles. Here's the thing. I'm not against EVs. I'm not. What I'm against is when the government comes in and says, "Okay, that's all you can have." Like, let's not do that. I want the option of one or the other, or a combo of the two, which is, in my opinion, is even better. So, what are your thoughts on EV? Those of you that are watching, IG, I see you guys over there. What are your comments on EV? Who has one, and how do you like it? Because I do see more and more EVs around out east, out here more. So. That'd be interesting. All right, let's get into this. Now, we got a special guest here, Deanna Redalesko. She's the host of Label Free Podcast. It is this podcast is on fire. It's one of the top podcasts in the world right now. It's like the top 0.05% in all of the world, the universe. And when you listen to her show, you'll understand why. And she does so many interviews and episodes. She sets the bar. She's making me look bad, actually, but she's setting the bar very, very high. So, Deanna, let's get into you. Tell everybody a little bit more about you.
Sorry, I had to put it on mute because the dogs are going a little. They're going to be hosting the show with us. Sorry. Thank you for that. That I always like. It gives me like I'm like when I'm shy and put like a bag over my head because it's like hard to accept. That's where I'm at. But I love what I do. The show started as a passion project, and the message has just resonated with so many people around the world. It's called Label Free, and to live your best life, live label free, and it means something different for everyone. And really, what I strive to accomplish is to kind of like have this acceptance among us here in society and not be so divided. And what does that mean for people? I mean, it means something different, whether you've been through trauma, whether you're a corporate refugee or an entrepreneur or someone that is just living outside of the box, because we're programmed to live a certain way, right? We're born, we have propaganda thrown at us all of our lives, and then we expect to go to college, have the White House, or the house with the white picket fence, 2.5 kids. You know what I mean? It's like we're expected to do these things, and I like people like Andy Frisella. I love him. He just talks about, like, you don't have to go to college to be successful, and I like, he's somebody who's living label free. He had something happen to him, and he's just gone after it. And I think it's just that passion and finding that purpose within us, which is kind of what. Yeah, there's a lot of people out there that are walking around as shells of as human beings because they have not found their purpose. And so what I like to encourage is people to kind of like tap into, what is your purpose? What is going to set your soul on fire to add a positive, message to the world?
Yeah. How long have you been doing the show?
Since 2019.
Wow. So you've been doing it a while. And what
years?
When you first started doing podcasting, what prompted you to really dive into this? Or was it just like, I woke up one morning and like, I think I'm going to do this? Or what started that?
I didn't even know what a podcast was. So like, I mean, if you know some of my history, I was a fashion designer. I was working in corporate too, but I was trying to get a fashion label off the ground. And I did my 3rd collection, and I did a big event against human trafficking. I'm like, okay, if this collection doesn't take off, then I'm done. Couldn't keep throwing money at it. So it didn't really take off. And so I was done. And probably like a couple weeks later after that event, I got an email how to start a podcast. And I was just like, intrigued. I read it, and then I told my aunt, my cousin and my best friend, I'm like, I don't know who the F I think I am, but I'm gonna start a podcast. And I just talked about, like, and the whole premise was, at that point, like, I was so tired of carrying around a lot of my baggage.
Yeah.
Like the labels I put on myself, labels I was getting because I was a widow at that point. I had been through a lot of traumatic things. I've come from abusive childhood, human trafficking survivor, and I just didn't want to carry that anymore.
Yeah. And
I was like, I don't care. Like, I don't care what anybody says, whatever anybody wants to put on me, label me as. I just don't care. And so that's where it started, and that's how it was born.
That's so powerful. And obviously I listen to your shows, and you do several shows a week.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, only 2 shows this week, because Monday we had like
only 2 this week.
Monday, Wednesday, and Friday usually is my release schedule.
but only 2 this week. Well, she decided to take a day off this week. I don't know.
Not by choice. No.
No, but it's fun. It's been fun watching your show grow, and the guests that you have on the show, because it reminds me a little bit of when I started the Decision Hour show. You the type of show that you have is very educational, in a sense of you can learn really anything from anybody. And you've had A-listers down to people who you would be like your neighbor down the street, and everything in between. It's such a diverse group of guests that you have, and it's fun because you would think, oh, this one here, you're gonna get so much out of it. And it's like, okay, that was good, but then this person here that nobody's ever heard of just drops so much knowledge that you're sitting there like, oh my God,
blows your mind. Yeah.
Like, and that's what I absolutely love about this industry and what we do and how we create this, and the label free side of it. The label free, the name of it itself is like, man,
yeah.
If more people would take that mindset and kind of look in the mirror and just live a life of label free, imagine how much better off we would be.
Oh, God. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. And I think that's kind of like my intention, and probably why the show's been so successful, is just because I've really stuck to that, making sure my message was clear. And I get people saying, you have a very diverse range of guests. And I asked them, I said, I know. I said, but isn't the underlying message always the same? They're like, well, yeah. And they're like, it's just so, they just love it. And I'm like, and I kind of like, I always got to pinch myself, like, wow, I'm actually making that kind of impact. And, it's probably even more popular now. I mean, I get like 50 to 100 people reaching out, probably more than that a week. It's hard for me to keep up, but that either want to be on the show or like just love the show, just all kinds of stuff has come from it. And it's been a great experience.
You're making such a difference, and you're in magazines, billboards, you're literally all over the world. But you've recently, there was what was the magazine? There was an article or magazine just
shout out Arizona.
That's right.
Actually, there's two. I haven't shared the other one yet because I'm like, I don't want to bombard people. And I'm like, it's a Colette,
No, but the notoriety that you're getting and receiving is well deserved, and you are making a difference, and that's what I absolutely love.
Thank you.
With working with you and whatnot, and I'm looking forward to it because I know, and I'm sure Dave, our buddy Vegas, will see this here, sometime later this weekend. But I know he's got some stuff coming up later this year, so hopefully all of us can get together.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's do this. Let's dive into the shows this week and see what we missed this week. And I would like for you to start off with your show. Why don't you tell us about the episodes this week?
So I only so far have Wednesdays released. Today's will be released later, but I had Dr. Lucette Beal on, and she is a former veterinarian, and she's went through like divorce, cancer, with the loss of almost her business, and a caretaker all at the same time to really come out on the other side of that. A 7-figure entrepreneur, author, coach now. And she kind of just talks about her journey of like, going through all those struggles. And that's what I love to hear. Like, because I think a lot of people can get caught up in those struggles and have a hard time breaking out of them, right? Is either you can go forward or backward or just stay the same. Right. And I think a majority of people kind of are stuck in that place. And so she didn't accept any child support or alimony from her husband she divorced. She supported herself and her child on her own. And she kind of just went through like what she went through, the ups and the downs, and how she came out on the other side of that. And it's an incredibly inspirational story. And it also shows how incredibly resilient we are to go be a caretaker while going through cancer, while like your business is failing and going through a divorce. That's a lot to handle all at one time. And, and to come out of the other side of that, having a 7-figure business, becoming a coach and writing a book, like people are phenomenal. And their stories just like surprise me every single time that I talk to them. And it just, I just get an education and a lesson through in every conversation.
I hear stories like that and I look at myself and I think, man, I'm lazy.
You've been
Jesus God, like if they I thought, oh man, I'm pretty busy, I do this, and then you look over like this person went through this and while they're cancer did this and this, and I'm just God, like and here's the thing. I think a lot of people, we go through life and when we get stuck, like, and I've been in there, like you sit here, like you're spinning your tires.
Yeah.
How are you going to get out of it? Well, stop spinning the tires, take a second and come up with a game plan. I think people what happened is they get so overwhelmed with stuff. They keep spinning their tires and they keep sinking deeper and deeper. Mm-hmm. It's okay to just pause for a second and just kind of, all right, let's pause and let's think of a way to get out of this and then slowly move that way.
Yeah.
I look at people like her and it's like, man, everything that she went through all at the same time.
Yeah.
How did she get through it? Well, she didn't quit.
No, she didn't quit, and I like to always say, it's all about the journey, not the destination. Right. So she had to go through that journey to get to where she is now, which she's incredibly successful writing this book. And now is like coaching and mentoring other people. I think that a lot of the guests that are on my show, they had a purpose in life and they couldn't find their purpose unless they went through those hardships to really teach them the lessons so that they can teach others. And that's what I love so much about the guests that I have on.
Let me ask you a question. This is off the cuff right now.
Okay,
This was
sure.
not planned at all. So I'm putting you on the spot, and I apologize. Just
No
remember this.
worries.
I love you for this.
Okay.
Do you remember when you had your "this is my purpose" moment?
I think I'm still having those moments, like as I'm growing the show, and just like really, because there have been times, Adam, that I'm like, oh, I can't continue to do this. How am I going to support myself? Like, how do I stay successful in this? And I've like wanted to, like, I've thought about like quitting, but there's always been something that shows up that like allows me to continue to move forward in a successful way, that is allowing me to support myself. And it keeps telling me that I am doing what I'm supposed to be doing, that this message is much bigger than myself, and I have got to stay the course, because clearly there's a reason why this message came to me. It's been so popular, and that I need to continue to move forward. So I have those revelations, every once in a while when I'm feeling down, because not everything is perfect in life, right? We have ups and downs, and when you have those down moments, you question things,
Yeah.
right? And so you have to and then it's just like something happened. It's just like, okay, yeah, this is my purpose. This is where I'm supposed to be, and who knows? I'm not even going to question where it's going to take me. I'm just along for the ride.
You cannot give a better answer than that right there. I absolutely love that. So those of you that are watching, that watch this later on or throughout the weekend or during the week, if you're struggling to find your purpose, it's okay.
Yeah.
I was kind of a late bloomer. I think that when I first realized my purpose, as opposed to, I always looked at being a single father. That was my purpose, was raise my
Yeah.
son, and okay, did that. Now what? And it was like, oh, it's time for me to grow up. I needed to find something, and this was an outlet, but helping other people get to where they want to go seemed to be what God was putting on my heavy on my heart at that time, and I'm blessed to be doing this a decade later, and like Deanna said, listen, there's not a week that goes by where I'm just like, F it.
Questioning it all. Like, what the
I'm
heck?
about to type an email out to all the shows. I'm sorry, I failed you. I'm a douche, but whatever. I'm shutting it down, and then I never send it, because it's like, okay, something's going to happen, and it always does. You get an email for somebody that says thank you, or
Yeah.
I listened to so and so, and this is, you change people's lives, and oftentimes it's from people that you've never met in your life, and maybe you'd never meet that person at all, but the fact that that's what it's about. It's not about, if you can help just one person. In my mind, if we can help just one person, then it's worth everything that we do
Amen.
and all the crap that we go through to do it.
Yeah.
My opinion. So
Gotta pave the way, baby. Gotta pave the way.
now, you talked about that was Wednesday's drop.
Yes.
Can you give us a sneak peek about this afternoon's drop?
Sure. So his name is Jerry Scarlato, and he also went through a divorce. He was very successful on the outside, had a gym, but he just didn't feel right, which is very interesting. I have a lot of guests that have been extremely successful in their careers and what they've been doing, but something was missing. And I think they are great. I think those stories are great examples of people that are out there that are just walking around like empty shells of a person, that, you might have it all looking great on the outside, but something's not right on the inside. So he ended up like shutting his business down, getting a divorce, and finding his purpose. And he also wrote a book and is a coach. And he's like, he went through some really challenging times trying to figure out what was missing. And you'll have to listen to the episode to really kind of understand like what that looked like for him. But I find those stories super interesting, because we look at someone and we think, oh, they got it all together, and really, a majority of those people that are showing this outward appearance are struggling on the inside, and that struggle could be devastating and could almost be like terminal for some people.
Yeah, I love that. It reminds me of a story that I heard earlier this week. There were two men driving a car. One was driving a Porsche, and one had a family with 3 kids, and they're driving a Winnebago, or
Yeah.
like an old station wagon,
Yeah.
And the guy in the station wagon who's got the wife and the kids, and and he looks over at the guy in the Porsche, says, "Oh man, that guy's got it all, and I wish I had that." Meanwhile, the guy in the Porsche, who looks like he has all this elaborate stuff, looks over to the guy in the station wagon with the wife and the kids and says, "Man, I wish I was that guy."
Yeah. See, isn't that fascinating?
It blows my mind.
Yeah.
When you put things into perspective that way. So I love it. I love it. Reminder, everybody, you can listen to the shows. Go to heroesmediagroup.com. You can see all of the shows that we have here on the network. Follow their social media, all their social media platform where you can listen to their shows. You can find it all on their show pages. Go to heroesmediagroup.com. Label free podcast. Deanna, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks for having me, Adam. This is good. This is fun.
I love this. Moving on. And I'm hoping you're staying with me till the end of the show. If you like.
Sure.
Perfect. Next up, we got Because Bikers Matter podcast. This week, from guitars to skateboards, exploring metalwood garage creations. I love this show. David, a.k.a. Vegas Schumann, has joined special guest Deanna KT from Metalwood Garage. Deanna showcases her unique artwork, including a female form built on a Harley Davidson's transmission.
Yeah.
I have not seen this picture, but I am going to be looking this one up.
It's pretty cool. She's very talented. Her name's Dana.
Dana.
Yeah.
Let's see here. So she's got this on a transmission, and she's also created items for the Flying Pistons benefit.
Yeah.
She discusses the designs of skateboarding and a guitar sponsored by Motorcycle Safety Lawyers, another great organization, highlighting her passion for supporting local artists. This was a great episode. I cannot wait to see the pictures on this, because I would love to see how that transmission turned out. This show here, whether you're a biker or not, this is just a fun show to listen to.
Yeah.
David does, and he travels quite a bit too. And he's going to the bikes. So he's going to Sturgis. I know he was down in Daytona.
Yeah.
For Bike Week and stuff like that. And we got some stuff planned later this year that we're going to be sharing here in a couple months.
Very cool. So, oh my goodness.
I'm loving what this show is all about. So make sure you guys check it out this week, Because Bikers Matter podcast.
And he's a big supporter of veterans and first responders.
Huge.
Yes.
Huge supporter of the veteran and first responder community.
They did a lot for the community.
Yeah, they did some. What was it last year in Chicago? They did a big thing, and well, I'm not going to talk about it because that's they may or may not be doing that later this year that we might be a part of. Anyway, all right, we got to move on. Moving on. Next up, we got the Joel Evans Show. Another
love Joel. He's my buddy.
Dude, man.
Yeah.
This week, Justin Wolf, the co-founder and CEO of New Brew, discusses the journey away from alcohol and the creation of a non-alcoholic beverage that delivers similar relaxing effects.
Yeah.
I listened to this. I actually watched this episode, and I was like, there's no way.
Yes. I actually had Justin on this week, so he'll be released in about a couple of weeks. And he sent me some samples, and it's everything that they're talking about. It's really good. Like,
dive into this. Go into this. Take it. Because I'm looking at it, and I'm seeing what's in it, and I'm just like, really? Like it's fascinating how they came up with this.
His story is pretty cool. I really like Justin, and I like his story just around like why he had to get away from alcohol, which has been a common theme around people that are breaking away from alcohol.
Yeah. And
him and his wife, like, they went on some retreats and they did some ayahuasca. They went to different areas in the world, and they found some of these ingredients and they came up with the combo, and it is everything that Joel says and Justin says. You get a nice tingly feeling. You're more alert. It is kind of like you have an experience, but you're not like intoxicated like with alcohol. So, and it tastes good. I can attest to it. So, yeah.
So I've actually tried what's it called? Is it kratom? Did I say that right?
Kratom. Yeah, I've never tried it on its own.
I tried that on its own, and it was hard for me.
Oh yeah.
That part was hard for me, and not in it. It wasn't in a sense of like a negative, like, oh, I was having like a bad trip or anything like that. It was like, I don't know, too graphic, but more of a digestional,
Oh, okay.
thing.
No good.
But I saw this and I was like, I said, this is something, and I don't drink beer. I haven't had a beer in almost 6 years now, because my body doesn't do well with it. But this would be something, and since this is non-alcoholic, this is something I would try, because it's one of those things where you're like, oh, maybe you got to try everything once. This is one of those things, you know what I mean?
I think you'd like it. It's not bad.
Not bad, man. All right.
Beer at all. I hate beer. I'm a wine drinker, vodka drinker, but I didn't mind the taste. And I really enjoyed like the experience. So I highly recommend, and I love Joel. I was so great to see that he was a guest on his show, because that was it was a great conversation they had.
I love it. That's the Joel Evans Show, everybody. Check it out. Next up, one of our newer shows, Homefront Sit Rep Podcast. This week, Tim Sears, a former Marine and Iraq War veteran, has established a significant presence on TikTok. With over 3,000 videos, he's become a content creator. Amazing, is millions of views. He works and blends with military-themed comedy, acting, and skilled film editing. So this was this was a funny show. I watched this one live, and I forget what he said, but he had said something like, we're doing this. And then I put community heroes, and they popped it up on the screen, and he stopped dead in his tracks and just started laughing hysterically, because he didn't understand that. I just happened to just put it on middle of the thing. Anyway, the guy is absolutely hilarious. It was a good show. They do a show every Sunday and Monday night, Central Standard Time. Homefront Sit Rep. Make sure you go check them out. What do we got next? Feed the people, buy the people.
This episode was fascinating to me. I had to say that.
This is my buddy AJ Richards. I've known AJ for a long time. He's really big in the ag community right now. He's got a new, and I'm a horrible friend, because he just got a new app that they've been working on for the last 4 years, and it's live right now, connecting you with your local farmers and ranchers.
That's awesome.
Which is absolutely needed right now. Title this week, a lie agreed upon with Jim, and I'm probably going to say his name wrong, Jim Mundorf. What happens when a lie is buried so deeply into our culture that people simply agree with it?
Yeah.
And let the lie exist. Is it possible that cattle are a solution to healing healing the planet instead of the problem?
I was listening to this morning to prepare for being on here with you today, and I was just like, oh man, I was starting to get angry. I'm gonna start going down the rabbit hole here, because there's just we all know what's going on in our world, and just the politics here in the U.S. is just so dirty, and it clearly does not go. Agriculture is not immune to it either. I was just floored listening to this episode.
I think the number that really gets to me is there was, I forget how many thousands of ranchers and farms closed down and were lost in the last 2 years.
Yeah.
Mind blowing. And now you see that, and you see fake meat being produced. And it's like, there's, and I'm really trying, I don't want to get into the whole conspiracy thing today, but all of you.
I was like, I wrote on here, fascinating, could go down a rabbit hole.
I can't help it. That's where I'm going to go. It's one of those things where it's just like, everybody's, there's no such thing as Matrix. Bullshit. It's there. It's happening. Like, they've already stated they want people in 15-minute cities, and they want to, if you control the large population, how do you do that?
Yeah.
You tell them, we live in America. I still think America is the greatest country in the world. hands down, I still feel that way. Our freedom that we have, let's look at it this way. I'll challenge you to look at our freedom that we have. We have the freedom of choice, right?
Yeah.
Meaning we can choose from this chicken company or this chicken company or this beef company or this beef company at the store, right? What we don't know, or what most people don't know, is those two companies are still owned by the same umbrella corporation.
Exactly. So our freedom of choice is not exactly freedom. It's like what they're just, the options are giving
It's
us.
almost a mirage of you have freedom. Let's give them the warm and fuzzy so they don't revolt. But at the same time, we're going to do X, Y, and Z. That's just, I know that's going to piss a lot of people off. I said it that way. But this is a show that everybody should be listening to. I think you have to. What are you consuming into your body right now? What is it that I've said this before, I've become more self-sufficient. We have a large garden. We grow food indoors on hydroponics. We've got a garden outside in our little neighborhood. And I know several ranchers in our area that we purchase our beef from. I don't buy meat from the store. And then I'm an outdoorsman. I hunt, I fish.
Yeah.
So I gather food that way as well, legally during the hunting season, fishing season. Let me put it out there. But feed the people, buy the people. This one's going to open your eyes, folks. This one's going to open your eyes this week. So check it out. Up next, the Hero Academy with host Super Dave. This week, Tina Guller was hired as a firefighter by Miami-Dade Fire Rescue in Miami in 1999. In 2003, she achieved her Pummer driver certification and became a paramedic. She was promoted to lieutenant in 2004. She worked on the trucks for 18 years, then bid into the fire prevention division in 2017. Now works as a fire inspector, inspecting all new construction buildings in Miami. That's a heck of a job to have. I could tell you that, especially in the Miami area. She's also part of the department's peer support team. And in 2015, she started Triple F, which Fierce Female Fighter Fighters. I love that name.
Yeah.
Absolutely love that. In 2018, however, she was diagnosed with breast cancer and that had resulted from her firefighting duties. After going through chemotherapy surgeries and radiation treatment, she is now cancer-free, thank God, and now an entrepreneur. This was a pretty interesting episode.
Yeah.
And it's always good to hear, Dave's a law enforcement over in New Jersey, and talking to a community hero. I love when community heroes get together and talk shop. Now, the banter maybe between cops and firefighters, I'm sure Mike can contest a little bit to it, is always fun.
Yeah.
An outsider looking in. But this was a good episode. Heroes Academy with Super Dave. Check it out.
Yes, it was.
What do we got next?
The other side of the firewall.
All right. Other side of the firewall. This week was a little bit different. So this show here, Other Side of the Firewall, for those of you that don't know, IT-based type show. And what I love about it, they do a show every single day, Monday through Friday. They put out a show Monday through Friday, but they're small, consumable shows. On average, probably 12 to 20 minutes long. This one here today, usually on Friday, they do a kind of a weekly wrap-up of what we're doing right now. But this week, today, they had Jacob Hill shares his cybersecurity origin story, starting from his early career in IT support to his transition to government and private sectors. He discusses the pros and cons of working in the government and contracting. I tried to say that. I tried to say it with a straight face. Nonetheless, these two, they talk cybersecurity stuff and they get into some various topics related to like podcasting, content creation, whatnot. Just good banter in between. All in all, check it out. It's a good show. Other Side of the Firewall. I like this. I learn a lot from this show because I am not an IT person at all. That's why we have people that do that stuff for me. But I have been going to Ryan, asking him some questions. I've learned a lot more from this show. So it's pretty interesting. Other Side of the Firewall. Check it out. Next up, the Misfit Nation podcast. let me start this one first by saying Rich LaMonica, Army veteran. I love him to death. Great guy. He's a lot like you, Deanna, where he's like you guys have like his shows are out through the end of January or end of July already.
Oh wow.
He just is pumping out shows and content, and it's great. This week, him and RJ Bird, no relation, spelled differently. Um, they dive into the incredible story behind the RDC Shoe Company with Darren Davis, a USMC veteran, and the company's founder. The narrative begins with Darren's passion for tennis, and how he kind of developed the shoes, the Glory shoes. This was a really cool episode. And I like hearing stories of like people that just have this idea and then you go chase that idea.
Me too.
Hands down. Great episode. Misfit Nation podcast. Check it out. Again, everybody, make sure you go. You can see all the shows that we're talking about. I'll post them after the weekly wrap up here. But you can go to heroesmediagroup.com to check them out. What do we have next? Where was I? Carry on politics this week. Rick Holden. He's a Republican candidate hailing from Montana, Eastern 2nd Congressional District. He's a former state senator. He's a rancher. Shares some insights into his campaign. And he wants to serve the people of Montana still and get on the House Committee of Agriculture if elected. And I tell you what were we just talking about?
Yeah, this guy should be a guest on Feed the People, by the people.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Jeez.
Yeah, definitely needed. Great conversation. He's got some good insight. One thing that I found interesting about this particular episode was that he was talking about people moving from California, kind of taking over, western part of Montana, and it increases home prices there. But he's like, the people that are coming in they're more conservative based thinking people, which he thought was a good thing, although it's causing an uproar in the real estate market there, and it makes it harder for native Montanans that have grown up in Montana that want to purchase houses. It makes the cost of living up there so high that people can't afford to live there anymore. So have you ever been to Montana?
No, I have not, but my mom has been, and she says it's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, that's on that's a bucket list for me as Montana. So
yeah.
All right, moving. Let's carry on politics. Check it out. Next up, the Decision Hour with yours truly. That's right. I dusted off this microphone. I got back behind it, and I did an interview.
That was pretty awesome.
Yeah.
I was listening to it, and I was like, oh, and I loved the way you guys talked about servant leadership.
Oh, yeah, this one here, Oak McCullen. He's a retired lieutenant colonel, Army, and this was just a great show. I've known Oak now for several months, and every time I get to talk to him, it's always I'm learning something from him. And one of the things that really kind of stood out to me about it was there was a funny story about him at a checkpoint in Kosovo where it was his interpreter had to talk to this Russian gate person at this checkpoint, and nonetheless he had a weapon pointed at him. Some words were exchanged, and his counterpart from Russia would just happen to pull up, see what was going on. They worked things out and became friends.
Oh wow.
And aside from all of that, just that story in and of itself teaches you some leadership, but his whole career on how to be a servant leader and what he teaches about servant leadership and really investing in your troops and other people, whether it's you're in the military or in the corporate side of things, investing in people. And he had a quote that he was told was, I don't care how high up the organization you get, never, ever turn on a chance to go get your own cup of coffee.
I like that. That's good.
And for those that are wondering what that really means, it's get out of from behind your desk, go get your own cup of coffee, because you're going to interact with the people in your office.
Yeah.
Get to know those people. So I thought this was really cool. Great episode. I thought the decision hour.
Very engaging.
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Very engaging.
Absolutely. Next up, MSEC podcast with our friends from Military Child Education Coalition, nonprofit organization based out of Killeen, Texas, down there by Fort Hood. Those of you that are in the military, currently active duty, Guard, Reserve, or maybe you're a veteran that has a child of age still in school, go follow Military Child Education Coalition, militarychild.org. This episode here this week, Peggy Davis shines a light on transformative power of sports for women.
Yeah.
From personal development to building resilience and fostering diversity, discover how athletes empower women and girls to excel in life.
I love how she was talking about the access to sports is important. Yeah, it was a good one.
Yeah. Great episode. I love this organization. MSEC podcast. Check it out. What do we got next up? We got the Arms Room Show, one of the OGs of HMG. This week, they're discussing common shooting fundamental errors that they see at the range with students. Let me say this. If you are interested in any type of training, they do firearms training, and they travel all over the country. They'll be out in Pennsylvania here in a couple of months. Their April programs are up right now on their website. Go to thearmsroom.com or go to independencetraining.com. Get some training. And ironically, a lot of the stuff they do is I'd like to call it dirt medicine. They do a lot of medical classes and stuff like that, stop the bleed and stuff like that as well. But they really take their time. What I like about the Arms Room Show and Glenn, who is the main host of the show, his company, Independence Training, what I like about Independence Training is that he takes time. So the standard for like a carry concealed class, let's say, I'm just using this as an example. Most states, like, you need 3 hours and then you do this.
Yeah.
He does a full 8 hours. Like, you might spend the first 5 hours in the classroom learning the do's and don'ts and all of that stuff. And then the last 3 to 4 hours out on the range teaching you how to properly shoot.
Wow.
He goes so far above and beyond any other thing. And that's why anytime I have a firearms question or whatnot, he's the first person I call. Great organization. Check him out, the Arms Room Show. Next up, we got another buddy here. Chasing Happiness. Chasing Happiness.
It's the Ryan Show. I love him. He's like very passionate about his message.
He really is.
Yeah.
He really is. This week, Ryan takes us on a personal journey through the highs and lows of his week, sharing insights that resonate with anyone looking to grow beyond their comfort zone. He is such a passionate individual, and I'm looking forward. He's down in the Arizona area as well. I'm looking forward to linking up with him here in a couple of weeks. He always puts on a good show, and it's always he puts it in such a way that just makes you sit back and think.
Yeah.
Okay. I get what he's saying. I feel what he's saying. I love it. Chasing Happiness. Check it out. Stay with the folks. We got 2 more here. Rising Up, Voices from the Front Lines. This week's guest, Andrew Muir. And that just went out last night, so I don't really have anything on it. But Rise Up, Voices from the Front Lines. Love it. It's a first responder show. And they put out some good content. They got a great organization called Battle2B. You can go check them out at battle2b.org. Last but certainly not least, the People's Patriot Project podcast with their We Got Your 6 at 6. People Patriot Project, another nonprofit organization. They're based out of Minnesota. Minnesota up there, up in the north there. Up north. Love these guys. I've known them since their inception, and they do several shows a week now. But their We Got Your 6 at 6 is every Sunday night, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. You can find them on Facebook where they do the live. This week they have Mike Wall from Bottle Breacher.
Yeah, very cool.
Cool organization. I've known Bottle Breacher. I have not had the pleasure of meeting Mike. I believe Mike bought the company from its previous owner, who is now in the Senate, Eli Crane. I knew Bottle Breacher when Eli had it, and Mike has continued that vision of supporting veterans and first responders around the world. Their products have been approved and by Shark Tank, which was several years ago now. But they and I have several Bottle Breachers myself. They're really cool. They take like the ammo and like bottle breachers, open up the bottles and stuff like that. They're cool. I got the hand grenade one.
Oh, neat.
Yeah, as well. But always a good episode with these guys. The People's Patriot Project. Go check them out. We got new shows coming. We're working on Patriots Inside the Wire. That's going to be new. And we got 2 more. I can't tell you what they are yet. I'll tell you next beginning of April. I'll tell you because they're going to be launching in May. But yeah, new shows and then sponsors. Let me listen. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for a lot of these people here. Let me give some shout outs here. It's tax season, right? It's everybody's favorite part of the year.
Oh yeah, blast.
How many people are just like, screw you? like let's give it's that time of year where we get to give the IRS money. But if you don't want to do that and you need help with your taxes, go to mytaxfella.com. Go give Anthony Moriello a call. I've known Anthony for just about a decade now. He does our personal stuff. He does all of my businesses, the different businesses that we have. They are phenomenal, and they never skip a beat. And I absolutely owe everything to them. I absolutely love them. So go check them out, mytaxfella.com. Alibi Tattoo. You need some new ink, come on out to Pennsylvania. They'll hook you up. Or maybe you got some ink that you don't want anymore.
You need covered up.
You need it covered up, or you need it lasered off. They do tattoo removal as well. Go check them out. Alibi Tattoo. Forget Genetics, veteran owned. This is for all you outdoorsmen and ladies out there. You like animals in the woods? Go to forgetgenetics.com. Check them out. They got some great minerals that you put out. I love it. Deer hunting season is always around the corner for me. So go check them out. Forget Genetics. And if you use promo code HMG, they're going to give you 10% off at checkout. Got a Whole Brewing down in Eureka Springs, Arkansas. Great organization. Thank you for what you do. Home Studio. We got some more stuff coming with that here in April, but we're offering help to build a home studio if you want to be a podcaster.
Very cool.
The Freedom People. Another organization will help you with your trusts. If you have a living trust or you need a trust done, go check out freedompeople.org, and another veteran organization. Jim Neary's Bait and Tackle and Warriors on the Water. Jim Neary's Bait and Tackle. They have some fishing tournaments coming up in southern Pennsylvania starting April 18th, or let me check the date. Middle of April, second Saturday of April. I know it's the second Saturday of April. And I also know May 18th is their large tournament where they're going to do a hog roast down in southern Lancaster County. Lots of fun. Great stuff. Veteran owned as well. Sisu Stamina and the Universal Learning Approach. I love this stuff. Love. John Mayle created these chewable tablets that I take around 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they give me my second high to get me through the day. They're phenomenal. Sisu Stamina, go check them out. Motorcycle Safety Lawyers. As if I have to say it, if you ride bikes, if you're on motorcycles, these guys need to be on your speed dial.
Yes, for sure.
I mean, just a great organization, and they cover everybody like across the country. I absolutely love what these guys are about, and they do so much again for the veterans and first responder community as well. Motorcycle Safety Lawyers, check them out. JB Auto Clothiers. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but look at that. Boom. Got the threads on. Yeah, this is a custom JB Auto Clothiers jacket.
Big pimpin'.
Thank you. Made to measure for yours truly, and they can do it for you. If you want a suit, tuxedo, custom shirt, they do custom ties now. Reach out to them, jbautoclothiers.com. And then last, certainly not least, you see the coffee back there, HMG Beverage, our sister company. is starting to take off a lot. So and if you're interested, we're going to be hiring here in May. You can go to hmgbeverage.com or go to hmgcoffee.com.
Awesome.
That's it. That's all I got for you guys today. Deanna, I so much appreciate
Been a
everything
blast.
that you do here for the network, your show, and your listeners. You make the world a better place, and I thank you for it.
Thank you. Thank you for everything you do, Adam.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So listen, guys, before we let you go, get outside. The weather's starting to, I don't know. I said it was starting to get nice, but it's like cold. The last 2 days, it's been in the 30s.
Yeah.
Get outside anyway. Bundle up. Get outside. Put the phone down. Get out from your desk. Go out and God, just get away from the electronics this weekend. At least for a couple hours, and then go watch the games and see how much your bracket got messed up. All right, folks, that's all the time we got. Make sure you guys think for yourself. Deanna, thanks again for joining us today. We'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.